episode of my TV, I'm going to be looking at the right way to get yourself noticed in headshots. I know who you're thinking of. You're thinking of that LinkedIn connection, aren't you? The one that is so desperately trying to stand out all the time with his down with the kids approach and his zany, wacky personality that actually every time it comes up in your feed, it just gives you the cringes. Today, we're going to be standing out, but definitely without the cringes. I hope you're doing well today, you beautiful beast you. I'm Laura from Laura Pearman Photography, and if you haven't been here before, welcome to Moi TV. I definitely think that you should subscribe to this channel if you're interested in headshots, ideas, and inspirations. When you do that though, make sure that you hit the bell and you're going to get notified every single Friday when a new episode comes out. It's really easy for you to sit back right now and think of the people who stand out well in your industry. By well, I mean the ones that we think are kind of pretty cool. The reason they are so kind of cool is because they are unapologetically themselves. It might be that they're really into a thing that you're not really that bothered about, but the fact that they've been so honest and open with you that they are really into that thing, it makes you love them just a little bit more. We love them for their foibles and their idiosyncrasies. Then on the other side, you can probably think of somebody that you know who is desperately trying really, really hard to stand out. It's that desperation that gives us the cringes. It gives us feelings of embarrassment when we can see somebody trying too hard. So when it comes to shooting standout headshots, it is crucial to make sure that the eyes that take you in are the ones that are really impressed that you're unapologetically yourself and not the latter ones that are going to be a bit cringy about you. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly how to master this. I've had my own headshots photography business now for 8 years. Prior to that, I worked in public relations and marketing. I've proven my little hybrid formula on headshots and selfies clients time and time again. The art of standing out in the right way is part of my photographer muscle memory. Today, I'm going to be breaking that all down for you. Who are you really? No, really, who are you? We are each unique snowflakes, blowing on the breeze of the free market in commerce and business. Now, when we let our uniqueness shine out, or we let our freak flag fly high, we know we're going to be running the risk of turning some people off. But when you boil that down, you know there's going to be people that you come across and people who come across you in life, and when you take them in, you're like, yeah, it's just not for me. People are going to be like that about you. It could even be that the sight of your face reminds them of somebody else in their life who they have preconceptions and judgments already decided, and they can't help but use those impressions on you when they take you in. There is absolutely nothing you can do about this. So the first step when it comes to standing out is just making your peace with this. Abraham Lincoln said, you can't please all the people all the time. Bob Marley sang, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all of the time. Two different men with two very different legacies, kind of making the same point. What actually causes the cringes is when we see somebody trying really hard to be somebody other than themselves. It's that pain that they've gone through and their desperation to fool you that puts you off. It creates a disconnect, and that element makes you feel weird and cringy. Just think David Brent. It's really funny, and then it's just really tragic. When it comes to photography, I feel like I see this a lot. Now, this can be caused from two different things. It can be a photographer's misinterpretation of who their subject is and setting them in the wrong light. Or it could be that the client has demanded the photographer photograph them just the same as their business hero, when actually they're not really like that person at all. If you feel like you're really struggling with this, or you're really worried that you're coming off a little bit cringy, take a moment and write down 3 things that make you really uncool. Be really honest about it. Okay, done? So I guarantee you that these 3 uncool things can be shown in a really cool way. At the end of the day, the coolest people just do not care what anyone else thinks about them. Why don't you challenge me with your 3 uncool traits right now? Put them down in the comments and I will come back with 3 very cool scenarios that we could use these as inspiration for branded and authentic headshots. If you're feeling a little bit shy about your uncoolness, go ahead and DM them to me on Instagram. I promise I'll keep them secret. Shh. You want to zag on the zig. Simply imitating what we see from all of the other people around us in our industry and what they're doing with their headshots is a surefire way to blend in. Sure, it feels a little bit more safe than letting your freak flag fly high, but it's not going to help you in terms of business. Take a beat and gather some headshots from the people around you in your industry. LinkedIn is a great place to do this. When you have a collection, you really are able to get a visual sense of what the mainstream is doing. What's everyone doing in that area right now? When you understand what the similarities are, it's very easy to think of one tiny little variable to make sure that you keep on zagging. And when you zag, you stand out. I talked about finding new angles in your professional life on this episode in a little bit more detail. Going against the grain doesn't have to instantly translate to being this really wacky, leery version of the exact opposite of what everyone else is doing. It may be possible to identify a piece of what's going on in your industry that nobody else has ever thought of shining a spotlight on in headshots or trying to explain when they're showing people what their profession is. This gives you a wonderful little gap to shine out for sheer excellence in your industry. It could be that no one in your industry has ever even considered getting a professional headshot taken. Be the trailblazer. I did a whole rant about this when I talked about lawyer headshots in that session that I just showed you up there. This is exactly what I mean. A funny expression is a real pet peeve of mine when it comes to headshots photography. And this pet peeve is made all the worse because I know that I do it myself. I'm often going for the clueless 50s housewife when I'm doing my silly facial expressions. And I find this idea really funny. So first of all, you have an overly glamorous housewife who is at home and not really showing her glam to anyone other than her husband. That is funny. And then when you pair that with her having to be so delighted at the properties of cleaning products or domestic appliances, that whole idea wrapped up together to me is hysterical as a modern day woman. I am well aware that these silly housewife faces probably put a few people off. But really, it would be silly of me to expect anything other than this. It's ludicrous for me to expect that anyone gets this joke that I find so funny. Now, comedians are notorious for this kind of thing. Go and Google your favorite comedians after you've watched this episode and take a look at the photography and image results that you get. You're going to see quite a lot of single raised eyebrows going on, or just plain old silly faces, funny grimaces, that kind of thing. And a lot of the time, you're going to see the comedian trying to show themselves in an ironic way through their professional headshots photography. So let's just clear this up. Pulling a silly face is probably not going to help you stand out in the right way. There's a time and a place for it, and you need to think about that. So don't do it in every single selfie, every single headshot, because it's going to start coming off as a silly little gimmick. Now, before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe. Mwah.